Code it now. Write a program to print an addition table for the numbers 1 to 5. It should look just like the multiplication table shown in this unit. So pretty sure when we say it's going to look like the multiplication table shown in this unit, that means it's going to be very similar to the multiplication table code we wrote for our Code It Now activity. So we're going to just copy this code and edit it accordingly. So Control C, and then Control N for a new file, Enter for Java, and Control V to paste. And obviously we'll give this a different name. Instead of mult table, it's going to be, we'll just call it AddTable. Makes sense. AddTable. And we're still going to definitely want this nested for loop structure. We're still going to want to start from I equals 1 for both I and j. And in this case, we're specifically told to go up to 5, so I'm going to change this to 5. And of course, here we want to do an addition table instead of a multiplication table. So instead of times, we're just going to replace the times symbol with a plus symbol. And we still want to concatenate and add in space after every addition we do, because remember that inner for loop that we're iterating over with j, that is going to be the for loop that's handling putting in each entry into the row. And then the outer for loop is going to be the one that selects, okay, which row do I want to focus on? So that's why we have the addition happening in the nested for loop, along with adding the space, because if we added a new line, as if we used println, then we just get a new line after each addition, and we don't want that because we want it structured like a table where we have rows and columns. And then we only print the new line after we're done printing out all the values for one row. So that makes sense. All right, so I'm not going to really add any comments here since it's pretty straightforward and simple. You could add in some comments to remind yourself that, for example, the inner for loop is the one putting in the actual value for each of the entries in a row, and then you could also put in a comment to remind yourself that the outer loop is the one that's controlling which row we're focusing on. But for the sake of keeping this video short, I'm not going to do that. So Control S, we save, Enter to accept defaults, Control B to compile, compiled successfully, and then Control R to run. All right, and this is looking pretty good. So as you can see here, we definitely have a table of adding values. So if we look at the first row in the first column, so 1 plus 1 is 2. That makes sense. Now let's choose some random values. So maybe like, let's say the third row, so 1, 2, 3. And then let's say the fourth value, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So 3 plus 4 is 7, and that's right. So as we can see, our table definitely worked the way we expect it to work. Now another thing you might notice here is that we don't have a column and a row representing just what column and row we're on. Like for example, there could be a column here that has 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, and then a row up here with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then this will make it clear that, you know, first column, first row, you go down the column and you go down the row and you find what the addition value is. But that's pretty easy to add in. We're not going to do that in this video, but maybe if you'd like to, you can try adding this in on your own. So yeah.